Hello, Grand Park community. It's Courtney. Welcome to your Yoga Ala retreat. I'm so grateful to Grand Park for giving us a space to continue to move and breathe and take care of each other as a community. So thank you. Today, I just want to bring in the opening of the Yoga Sutras. So the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali is the first written down text of yoga. So traditionally, the yoga practice was an oral tradition passed down word of mouth from teacher to student. And the text opens by basically saying yoga is a practice of being in the now, and that the goal of yoga is to stop the fluctuations of the mind, so that we can sit and be in our truest nature, which is being in the truth, being in the present, being in a sense of open peace and ease, being in this connection of being connected to all. And I find this to be very beautiful. And so we might go, well, how do we do that? How do we cease and stop the fluctuations of the mind? That is the question. And the rest of the Yoga Sutras basically talk about how we can do that. It is a lot of talk about the patterns of the mind, about the ways that we misconstrue and misunderstand information. It is a text that talks about really being in the truth, really being in the present, not, anticipating or grasping onto the future, not holding the past. And we can do this in a variety of ways. It's an ongoing practice, so it's not like we arrive in a state of yoga and we stay there forever. Maybe some people have done that, but in my experience, that doesn't happen for me. But we are going to try to do some yoga exercises, some conscious awareness of thought, of movement, of breath, so that maybe we can sink into moments where we are in that stage, that place of yoga, where we're in our body, when we're in our breath, when we're in the moment of truth that we're in. So let's just give ourselves permission to slide in and out of that state and to be in the present as much as we can. So if you're not already in a comfortable seat, please take a comfortable seat. You can rest your hands down on your thighs or up on your thighs. And let's just close our eyes and we'll just do a little check-in. So maybe just noticing the fluctuations of your mind. So where is your mind right now? Is your mind where it just was in whatever you just did? Is it worried about something that you have to do or that you don't know how it will come out to be? Can you try your best to commit yourself to being in as many moments together today as possible? And the practice is actually pretty simple. When we notice that our mind is doing something else, that awareness is an invitation to draw ourselves back to being in the moment that we're in. So maybe even treating it like a gift. So anytime today when you notice that your mind is somewhere other than in practice, notice, and then use that as a reset to come on back to join us where we are. Let's start to draw some awareness to our breath. So the breath is a really beautiful way to connect with our body, to connect with the moment that we're in. So we're going to take 3 rounds of breath together today. So we'll just do a simple inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. We'll do it 3 times. Maybe closing your eyes or softening your gaze on the floor. Let your breath come all the way out through your nose. A slow, soft, full inhale Through your nose, slow, soft, long exhale. Through your nose, inhale. Through your nose, exhale. Through your nose, inhale. Through your nose, exhale. Let's flutter the eyes open. Take your left ear to your left shoulder. Gentle breaths into the right side of your neck. And maybe use any tension as an invitation to come and meet the tension with breath, with the moment that we're in together. Take your head back to stack over your spine, and then right ear comes to right shoulder. Left shoulder goes away from your ear. Find some breaths into the left side of your neck. Coming back to center, let's just take little no motions, side to side, maybe pausing when you reach each side. And then we'll take little yes motions. So looking up, looking down, releasing your shoulders. Yes, yes, yes. And then from here, we're just going to start to draw circles with the top of the head. So you can close your eyes if this makes you dizzy. So we're not taking full neck rolls. We're just taking little circles, just finding a little warmth and movement in our neck. Start circling the other direction. Come back to center, open your eyes if they're closed, and let's find our way to hands and knees. So something underneath the knees, if you need support underneath your knees. Wrist stack over the under the shoulders, knees are under the hips, wrists are underneath the shoulders, fingers are spread wide. As you inhale, the belly drops, the heart reaches up and through. Exhale, curl in your spine, nose comes to your belly button, head releases. Inhale, belly drops, heart rises. Exhale, curl in your spine. 2 more times. Inhale, belly drops, heart rises. Exhale, curl in your spine, nose comes into belly button. Inhale, belly drops, heart rises. Exhale, curl in your spine. Let's walk our hands a little bit farther forward. We're going to come to circle the hips just to warm up and get some mobility in our hips. So you can just maybe imagine you have a pencil on your tailbone and you're just drawing large circles behind you. So just moving one direction, you can start to bend your elbows. Just let this be kind of fluid. And then we'll switch the direction the other way, using your body as a way to draw yourself in the moment. So just getting curious about what this feels like. Breathing inside it, breathing with it. Come back to stack the wrists underneath the shoulders. We'll tuck our toes here, so we're breathing into the feet. So this can be a big stretch. You're welcome to stay here and breathe. If this is already a lot of sensation, please stay, please breathe. If you'd like to explore a deeper stretch, walk your hands back for your knees, maybe coming to sit up on your heels. Now that is not necessary to feel into your feet. So we want to be in the practice of yoga, in the practice of truth, in practice of meeting the moment as it is. So if your feet are screaming about this, come out, put weight in your hands. Honor your body, honor the moment. If you are sitting on your heels, walk your hands forward. We'll release the tops of our feet. We'll take our hands a little farther forward. Press the weight into your knuckles, and then we'll send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. So downward facing dog is a really big stretch. Listen to what's happening in the backs of the hamstrings, bending your knees as much as possible, as much as you need or not. So listening and honoring what's happening in the hamstrings. Armpits hug in, weight is forward into the knuckles. So there's very little weight in the wrists. If you're noticing there's weight in the wrists, you're probably not using your arms. So use the strength of your arms. So inner arms roll in, armpits roll in, heart presses back for the thighs, and then pressing the weight forward into the knuckles. Let your head go, maybe yes and no here, just to make sure you're not holding tension in your head. And then we'll roll forward to a plank pose. So wrists are underneath the shoulders, belly scooping into your spine. You can tap your knees down if knees up is causing you to not breathe fully or causing you to be tense in your jaw. And then hips come up and back, downward facing dog. Let's walk the hands back for the feet, bending your knees as much as the backs of the legs ask. And then let's take our feet a little wider than the hips today. So this is an option just to create more space. Let your head go, let your knees bend if you need it. You can grab opposite elbows, you can let your fingertips dangle. And then pressing down into your feet, start to roll yourself up, stacking your spine, your vertebra on top of each other. Arms come out to the sides. Let's take the feet in, hips distance, mountain pose. Inhale, draw your arms tall. Exhale, melt your heart forward. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, heart reaches from tailbone. Exhale, melt your heart, release your head. Inhale, draw your arms tall. Exhale, hands come into heart. 2 more times. Inhale, arms extend out. Really connect the breath with the movement. Exhale, melt your heart, release your head. Inhale, halfway lift, heart reaching forward, tailbone back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, draw your arms tall to sky. Exhale, hands come into heart. Inhale, arms rise tall. Exhale, melt your heart, release your head. Inhale, heart reaches forward, head away from tailbone. Exhale, release your head. Inhale, draw your arms tall. Exhale, hands come into heart. So from here, take your hands to your hips. We're going to take our feet a little wider than the hips. And we're just going to start to make big circles You can bend your knees as much as you need. So we're just finding some mobility in our hips again. And then we'll switch the circling the other way. Doesn't have to look like mine, just moving in circles in your hips. And then coming back to center, feet underneath your hips. We're just going to do some tapping to wake up our entire system. So using whichever two fingers on whichever hand, start to tap gently across your forehead, very gentle tapping, maybe across the top of your head, just greeting those parts of you, tapping into your face, down the bridge of your nose, across your cheeks, across your jawline, across your lips, across your neck and your throat, across your collarbone. And then coming down, whichever arm is opposite of the one you're tapping with, tapping into your hand, tapping up the other side of your arm, and then you'll probably have to switch, tapping with your other hand and finger, tapping down into your hand, your palm. And then you can use both hands now. So just tapping into your chest, your belly, maybe tapping into your hips, the low back, if you can reach the middle back. You can use fists here. So tapping down the thighs to the hips, down the shins to the calves. Let your head go here. And then some just gentle tapping on the top of the feet. Keep the soles of your feet glued to the earth. And then let's roll ourselves slowly up to stand. Palms come forward. Maybe just feeling a little humming, a little aliveness in your body. From here, we'll take feet and heels together, sinking back into our first chair pose. So heart reaching forward, tailbone reaching away from heart. Exhale, melt your heart forward, extend your legs, inhale out. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come down, step your feet back, plank. Scoop your belly into your spine, downward facing dog. Right foot steps for the right hand, back foot spins flat. So we're gonna press into the outer blade of our back foot and into the entire base of the right foot to come on up. So use your grounding to lift you. Send your right hip back slightly. Warrior one. Shoulders melt away, gaze steadies on a point. And here, let's just check in with where our mind is. So is our mind in the practice of listening to the cues, listening to the body? Or is the mind somewhere else? Maybe calling the mind back to just moving and breathing in our body, to being here in the moment we're in together. As you exhale, hands come down to frame your foot. Step your right foot back, plank, downward facing dog. Left foot steps on your inhale, back foot spins flat. So before we come up, pressing into the outer blade of your back foot, pressing down in the entire base of your left foot. From that grounding, rise yourself up, left hip reaching back, wrist stack over shoulders, gaze steadies on a point in front of you at eye level. Breathing into the strength of this pose, softening in the jaw. Maybe just thinking and remembering we're all doing this together. As you exhale, hands come down to frame that left foot. Step the left foot back, plank, downward facing dog. So from here, we're gonna roll forward to a plank again. And we're just gonna come for a little bit of core strength. So you can tap your knees down on the floor at any point. Right hand lifts up to left collarbone, left shoulder, tap it down. Then left hand reaches to the right shoulder, tap it down. So just moving on your own, tapping opposite hand to opposite shoulder, scooping your belly into your spine. You can do this with your knees down. Take one more each side, breathing, breathing, breathing. And then hips come up and back, downward facing dog. Stepping your right foot for your right hand again, back foot spins flat. Warrior one. So press into your feet to rise yourself up, right hip back. Let's find an interlace of our hands behind the base of our spine. Send your interlace back, puff up your chest, and then melt your heart inside your right knee. So if this is way too much on the shoulders, I'm going to show a variation. So you can take the fists together to touch and fold your heart that way, keeping the shoulders melting away from your ears. Or the interlace of the hands, sending the arms up and overhead. Wherever you are, take one more full alive breath in, full alive breath out. And then use that inhale to press yourself up, warrior one. Hands come down to earth on your exhale, step it back, plank, downward facing dog. So take a couple breaths here, regroup. Notice where your mind went, bring it back if it's somewhere else. So this time, left foot steps to the left hand, back foot spins flat, press into your feet, come on up, warrior one. And then maybe taking that interlace, putting the opposite thumb on top so it'll feel a little bit awkward. If you don't have space in your shoulders, we have options. So maybe kissing your fists together, rising your heart either way, and then melting your heart inside your left thigh. Let your head go. So either fist joined or interlace, arms and up and overhead. Let your head go. Let your breath flow in. Send your left hip back. Let your head go. I know we always hold our head up, so I say let your head go a lot. All right, pressing into your feet. Come on up, warrior one. Hands come down to earth, plank, downward facing dog. So option to take child's pose. We're just going to take a few breaths. Option to stay and rest if you're resting. Or we're going to start with the left foot this time. So stepping your left foot in between your hands. Back foot spins flat, so we're in a heel to arch alignment. Finding your way up, warrior two. So big sink of your left hip. The heel of the front foot is in the blade of the back foot. We're going to connect some breath with movement here. So you can look over your extended left middle finger. This will be our exhale. Inhale, extend your left leg, reach your arms tall. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, extend and lengthen. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, extend and lengthen. Exhale, warrior two. We'll pause here. Right hand comes down, left arm reaches tall. Maybe you look up towards the sky if that's too much on your neck. Looking at eye level, find your breath. Inhale back, warrior two, arms extend from the shoulders. And then we'll extend the left leg straight. We're just gonna face the back now. So left toes come in, right toes come out. So we're coming into warrior two on the right. So big sink of the right hip, arms extend out from your shoulders, heel to arch alignment with your feet. Gazing over your right middle finger, we'll connect some breath with movement here. So this will be our exhale. Inhale, lengthen your right leg, extend your arms up and overhead. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, lengthen your leg, extend your arms. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, lengthen, extend. Exhale, warrior two. Pause briefly. Left hand comes down to the back of your left leg. Right arm reaches skyward. Maybe you look up. Maybe you look at eye level. Find your breath. See if you can be here in this pose, in this next breath, in this next breath. Inhale back, warrior two. Lengthen your left leg. So our feet are nice and wide. We're going to take the toes in, heels go out. Lots of buoyancy in the knees. And then we'll melt the heart forward. Maybe hands come to the earth. Maybe hands are on the hips. Gently press into the outer edges of your feet. Let your head go. And we'll just rest here for a few breaths in a forward fold. So from here, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, press yourself all the way up. Heel toe your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Heels go in, toes go out. And we'll make our way down to our Yogi Squat. So Yogi Squat might not be for you. If it's not, come to sit on your bottom. If your heels are lifted up off the floor, you could put a blanket, a towel. If you have a mat, you could double up and draw the floor closer to you. So we're gonna be here for a little bit. So see if you can set yourself up in a way where you can ground your heels down. So either putting something underneath your heels or heels touch, or if you're seated, you can still do the arm motions with us. So if you are in Yogi Squat, gentle pressure of your elbows inside your knees. We'll all, wherever we are, rise our hearts up from the tailbone, whether you're seated or in Yogi Squat. Excuse me. And then we'll take the left hand down to the floor. The right arm reaches tall. It's almost like you're going to give someone a big sideways hug. Take a couple breaths here. And then the hands come back into your heart, switching to the other side. Right hand comes down, left arm reaches tall. Maybe you look up, maybe you look at eye level. Hands come back to your heart, find length in the heart, head reaching away from tailbone. And then if you're not already seated, hands come behind you, come onto a seat, soles of the feet come together, knees come wide. Hands come maybe around your feet, somewhere on your shins. The closer the feet are to the body, the more stretch will be felt on the inner thighs. So deciding a place where you feel tension, but you can meet it with your breath. So that might mean you stay upright. That might mean you slightly or fully melt your heart forward. So we'll just take a few breaths into the inner thighs. Checking in with the mind, noticing where it is. And see if you can just bring your mind to the shape, to your breath, to the sensations. Being with them, breathing with them. Inhale, rise your heart. Take your feet a little bit farther out. So we have like a diamond or a square in between our legs. Hands come maybe just below the knees, maybe farther down on the shins. And this is where we'll breathe some space into the outer hips. So first, find a lot of length in your spine. So taking your hands, using that as a little root and anchor to rise up. And I'm just gonna stay upright today because I'm already feeling a lot in my thighs. If you need more, you can walk yourself out any amount, breathing and being with the space of the outer hips. If you're forward folded, rise it on up. This time we'll extend both legs out from the hips, so we're like in a big L pose. Remember, you can always bend your knees in any pose, so if the backs of the hamstrings are really tight today, you could even put a blanket, a pillow, something underneath the backs of the thighs so that the thighs come to meet something. So it's like filling in the space of the floor. Rise your arms tall, find lots of length in your spine, and then melt your heart forward towards your toes. Hands come maybe around the feet, maybe to the sides of the legs. Bow your chin into your chest to release your neck. And then if you're a human being, you probably have tightness in the back of your legs in some way. So seeing if you can get curious about it, if you can send some breath to it, if you can be with it as it is. Really starting to lengthen out those exhales as a way to release. See if you can watch yourself take 2 more full cycles of breath. So really watch yourself inhale. And really watch yourself exhale. Really watch yourself inhale. Really watch yourself exhale. As you inhale, rise your heart. We'll bend the knees, rest the soles of the feet down on the earth. Arms come out to the side. If you don't want to do any belly work, you can just come to lie on your back, or lifting up in your heart, scooping your belly in towards your spine. Start to slow roll yourself down to the floor. The slower you go, the more challenge it will be for your stomach. So whatever you need and want to play with today, let your head go down towards the floor. Feet come in a little bit, fingertips graze your heels. We'll do 2 bridge poses today. So using the strength of your thighs and your bottom, pressing into your feet, rising up from whatever is touching earth. Find your way to bridge. Maybe interlace your hands, tuck your shoulders. If that's not accessible, you can always just press down into your forearms. You could grab the outsides of your mat if you have one. So really rooting down to rise up from the floor. Find your breath. As you exhale, set it down. One hand on the heart. One hand on your belly, take a breath. Last bridge pose. So this is the last thing we're going to do that requires a lot of energy. See if you can give it what you got. So press down into your feet, rise your thighs, squeeze your bottom. Maybe finding an interlace of the hands, tucking your shoulders, or pressing down into your forearms, grabbing the outsides of the mat. Whatever you choose, press down into whatever's touching earth to rise up. On your exhale, setting your hips down, one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly, take a breath. Take your feet wider than your hips. If you have a mat, about the width of your mat, knees fall in to kiss. And then knees go side to side together like windshield wipers. So let this just be a wash for your low back to release tension. Hug your knees to stack over your hips. We'll start to circle the knees one direction. Let this be a massage for your low back. Switching the circle the other direction. Hug your right knee in, place an interlace underneath your right knee, extend your left leg long. Little or big flex in your left foot, little or slight tug of your right knee to your right shoulder. And then switching the other way. So left knee tugs in, right leg extends long, little flex of the right foot, little tug of the left knee to left shoulder. Both knees hug in, finding your way to happy baby. So grabbing the outsides of your feet, settling your hips down, settling your shoulders down, softening in your jaw. If grabbing the feet is not accessible, grabbing the backs of your thighs. So keep kicking the feet up as you pull the thighs down, or keep kicking the feet up as you pull the feet down. So find a couple breaths here. You can rock side to side if that feels good. You can be still. Take one more full cycle of breath. And then releasing yourself onto your back. Finding whatever comfortable position that you want to take for breath work. So if it feels good to rest your feet out, you can rest your feet out, lay flat on your back. If your low back is a little achy, you could bend your knees, rest the soles of your feet underneath your knees. And then we're going to rest the palms on the stomach today. Make space around your neck. So if your shoulders are up by your ears, walk them down to have space around your neck. Option to close your eyes or soft gaze on the ceiling. And we're just going to anchor the breath in the belly today. So as we do our breaths, we're going to let the belly expand out. And we're going to let the belly fall in. So we'll do 5 breaths together. Let your exhale come out. Through your nose, breathe into your belly. Through your nose, release from your belly. Through your nose, breathe into belly. Through your nose, release from your belly. Through your nose, breathe into belly. Through your nose, release. Through your nose, breathe in. Through your nose, breathe out. Through your nose, breathe in. Through your nose, breathe out. If you're comfortable here, you're welcome to stay here. If you think you might be more comfortable extending your legs, resting your palms out to the sides of your body, taking whatever comfortable position would feel good to you for your Shavasana, your final rest. So from here, just closing your eyes, settling your body down, letting yourself have just a minute and a half to rest, to be in the experience of yourself after a yoga practice, and I'll call us back in about a minute and a half. So starting to draw awareness back to your breath. Before we get up, I just invite you here to notice how you feel, how your body feels, how the mind feels. Maybe those fluctuations of mind are a little less radiant or less fluttery. Maybe not, maybe so. Starting to find some very gentle movements in your fingers and your toes. Eventually rolling over to your right side, making a little pillow for your head with your inner arm. And then pressing yourself back up into a seat, resting your palms down on your thighs, finding a little lift of your beautiful heart. Softening the eyes closed here. We'll just take one last inhale, exhale together. So let your exhale come out through your nose, soft, full inhale. Through your nose, soft, full exhale. Drawing your hands in a gesture of prayer at your heart, bowing your chin into the wisdom of your heart. Thank you so much for practicing with us today on Grand Park. The light in me sees and acknowledges the light in all of you. Thank you, community. I hope you feel a little bit more here, a little more present, and I'll see you again real soon.